Yeah.
And let's get started with a recap.
Yes, which I have. But do you want me to read the whole?
Yes.
It's up to you.
Please.
Okay.
You're the one who wrote the
Alright,
recap.
Okay. I can't remember my voice.
Ashley Johnson.
Okay. Matriarch, since you last heard from me, I've recently joined a party of adventurers under a new guise in Golden Fields. Upon joining the group, we were tasked with finding some missing cattle. We found that a venom troll was responsible and quickly dispatched it, where I nearly lost my life. We met a couple of strange humans at the troll's lair. One was a silent individual by the name of Gregor, and the other's name remains unknown to me still. After listening to their childish whining about us stealing their contract, we headed our separate ways back to Goldenfield to report our findings. The cattle would pay us to go collect it. We were to speak with Lord Trasker in the city of Sycomber, but Abbot Dalek didn't want to give us more information for fear of damaging relations with his contact. During our prolonged journey, we had a couple of incidents, but nothing too concerning. We first encountered a strange altar built to honor a god of protection travelers. My party, being of the strange sort, decided to offer up some coins to this god or goddess, so I decided to follow suit and was quickly blessed. The next event we had was the most potentially disastrous one that we had, because just south of Waterdeep we came across a priest by the name of Mindine, a servant of the God of Justice, and he cast some sort of spell that encouraged members of my party to tell basically the truth. I managed to resist the pull that for fear that his paladin friend would smite me down on the spot. The last day of our journey, my Minotaur party member decided to attack a large boulder that looked quite strangely to him as funny. While we were investigating a suspicious camp that we came across. It turns out that boulder was in fact a disguised bard, and the bard ended up on death's door, at which point the cow cast a healing spell saving his life. The bard was understandably upset and made an escape, but I chased him down and captured him quite quickly. Being so close to Waterdeep, I couldn't risk him filing a report that would cause us to be investigated. Unfortunately, the cow dropped the bard after taking some kind of thunder spell to the face, and the wily musician escaped even my own probing search. I'll have to keep an eye out for him. Ironically, the bovine lost half of the contents of his purse in the encounter. We reached Sycomber on the 8th of High Sun after 18 grueling days on foot. The town was oddly empty and silent at first, and many of the houses were burnt down. First in the encounter. We reached Sycomber on the 8th of High Sun after 18 grueling days on foot. The town was oddly empty and silent at first, and many of the houses were burnt down. We came to several long tents full of dead bodies and others that seemed to be in a living death-like state. We investigated, but saw no evidence of what caused this, until one of the bodies started to convulse, waking him from his slumber. The man was in a state of panic and was trying to communicate when some creature burst from his chest. I've never seen something so horrifying in my life. There was blood everywhere. The creature fled before I could get a good look, but my bull-headed companion managed to fire a spell at it. He missed, of course. Shortly after, I continued searching for clues and came across the lead healer's tent. I was searching there when the real horror started. I saw a fire had started on one of the tents somehow, mysteriously, and this caused more of those creatures to break out of their host and flee into the healer's tent. I was searching there when the real horror started. I saw a fire had started on one of the tents somehow, mysteriously, and this caused more of those creatures to break out of their host and flee into the street. I hid myself in the healer's tent and was about to make my way back to the party when I saw a large red scaly creature creeping into my hiding spot. Lucky for me, a sound lured it away, and I was able to get to give chase and stab it in the back. This is where it gets weirder. From further away, I hear a man shouting in the distance in a strange accent I've not heard before. I couldn't make out the words, but that poor soul is in for a surprise when he sees the kind of monsters his bellowing has attracted to him. My party survived, but the one called Alistair came out of it looking pretty horrible. They told me that he had taken a fatal wound, but was saved by the fire Ganassi Agni. That brings me to my conclusion of my letter. I await further instruction. Your humble servant, Knight.
Good recap. I can't snap.
You can't read my
Because you're trying to
handwriting.
snap like this.
No, I can't snap.
Just
I used to be able to snap, then I learned how to whistle, and I lost my ability to snap.
I can't whistle.
We're just gonna start shooting into the ceiling. So go ahead and take inspiration for that.
Oh, thank you.
And does anybody have anything else they would like to add to the recap?
that was start of plot B. So
Yep, so that is going to be, it is the start of a smaller storyline within the adventure. It's not your main goal to figure it out. It's something that will progress as the story continues. That way, if you get sick of, fighting giants all the time, you can kind of take a break and do something else for a minute.
go back to
Also want to note that we were running out of the city and heading toward Waterdeep.
Yep.
We just kind of started, bro. Get out of here.
You bolted out of the city, got enough P to level to level 4, but as of yet, you've not been able to level up because you need to take a long rest.
It's like midday, right?
About, yeah.
We're probably gonna be wanting to get far away. But I think that's probably the only thing on our brain is book it.
This stuff's not sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm trying to figure out
We
where.
are
Okay, we're
over here and here.
there. It is.
Currently, we're literally outside the city,
We just book it.
fleeing from.
I got distracted by this, so I was thinking about, what's that? It's a different campaign. But yeah. We just book it.
Fleeing from.
I got distracted by this, so I was thinking about, what's that? It's a different campaign. But yeah.
So,
And Alistair being carried by me.
yep.
I don't remember. Are you conscious?
I have 10 hit points, so yes.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
So, the 5 of you, Killian now disappeared for some mysterious reason, bolt from the city, running through the old wheat fields and the ashes of burned out houses to get back onto the main path, to hopefully eventually get back to the high road. Now, when we last left, you all said that you were going to head over to Waterdeep, but that has not yet been discussed in character. We'll say for the remainder of the day, you guys simply haul ass away from that town.
Towards Waterdeep, kind of where we were coming from.
Only at the end of the day does Alistair go, hey, you can put me down now.
Oh, sorry.
Thanks for the ride.
Alistair, you suck.
I didn't do anything. I don't know what you're talking about. And I will have you know, it has been a very productive day writing in my book and reading it. And now I think I know some new spells. Finally. I've been working on that for so long.
You were reading.
Yeah.
I was trekking for what?
Because you needed to run. I was given an opportunity. I took it.
Ordinary life is a little heavy.
You didn't even notice. See? Fine. Next time you can get a ride.
I'm not riding the centaur.
It was pretty nice.
That's
actually.
Minotaur. Thank you.
Sorry.
It was pretty
My
nice actually.
apologies.
So
That's fine.
Uber. I'll rate you 5 stars in Uber.
What's Uber?
10 cents.
What's Uber?
10 centers. Don't worry about it.
Uber.
Do I get paid?
Do I get paid?
Is your currency called stars?
No.
So I don't get paid.
I can give you a copper piece.
I feel like a whole day's travel is worth more than a copper piece.
Can we just sit outside? I'm exhausted.
That's a good idea. I am too.
Wait, how do you get more momentum?
Right? I kind of flail my little notes. I can also use my tail like a propeller, yeah.
You pretend
Like
pretend
tails.
it's like
I was gonna say
Naruto
tails.
So since
running.
you
You
don't,
pretend you're Naruto running, except since you don't have arms, you
Yeah,
just.
it's just like chicken leaning too far forward.
so since you don't have arms, is it like a blind person where, their hearing is enhanced or your legs enhanced?
I'm gonna find a nearby tree. Just
Your legs enhanced?
I'm gonna find a nearby tree. Just
I
sit
swear,
down
sometimes you are smart.
and relax.
I am. Probably smarter than everyone else here.
I'm gonna get started on the fire with those two of you.
I'm gonna pick flowers.
For the record, Alistair does have about 200 IQ.
I need
Or is it
flowers.
Agni just finds like a pile of stuff that he can just kind of. Okay.
Dip your hair in it.
Produce flame. Agni knows. base
Alistair
fire.
watches and does not do anything now because he's busy with his book.
Okay.
Can you get me a stick
Why do you need a stick?
for the fire?
How big is a stick?
A stick?
Stick. Can I find the stick? Want to go in passive perception?
I will allow you to find a stick.
I find a nice stick. It's fantastic. And
Why would I need
lay
a
down
stick? Why would I need a stick to produce a fire?
to make fire. You need 2 sticks.
No, you don't. You just need this. Firebolt.
Extra fire.
For people who don't have what you have, you need 2 sticks.
Sir,
Or
I am literally
tinderbox.
the embodiment of
I've
fire.
had a very
Fire.
long day
So-
of travel with a weight on my shoulders.
You didn't even notice. I don't
After
pay that
seeing
much.
a horrific,
That's true. Who wants
Ungodly
first
sin.
watch? I vote that one.
You know, Firebolt is actually a really simple spell called a cantrip. I'm sure you know a couple of them.
good
That's a
night.
little hot.
I just roll over and sleep where I'm at.
Can I actually take first watch and then you can take second? Does that sound okay?
Sure.
Who wants to take third watch then? Then I think we'll be set.
There are 4 watches to a night.
While I'm laying on the
4
ground.
watches to me?
4 watches.
I'll
So that's third. Who got
I'll
4?
take the fourth one.
Sounds good.
Oh.
Third watch then. Then I think we'll be set.
There are 4 watches to a night.
While I'm laying on the
4
ground.
watches to me?
4 watches. So
I'll
that's third. Who got
I'll
4?
take the fourth one.
Sounds good.
Oh.
Go ahead and get to work and I'll just, you know, be working on this. Good night.
Agni will actually take the time to like.
I didn't do much,
sleeping.
so I may as well.
We'll
Let me
kind of
check
have
something
them
on the real quick.
take time to like get all their stuff comfy and like lay it out very, very nicely, get all the dirt away from it.
So while Alistair is doing his watch,
Do you
he is
move
going
your
to be
sleeves?
working on reading and writing in his big old spell tome.
Okay.
Specifically, studying the new spells he will be taking, Unseen Servants and Tasha's Mind Whip.
Do you sleep on your feet?
I'm
laying down on the ground.
Oh. I was gonna use the taxi thing.
Agni hears that.
Apparently he already tips, so he's already cocked.
We just
He's already caught.
tip in the morning.
I don't know if I can do it while he's aware.
Does he wear shoes?
So everybody starts to rest their heads and go to bed for the night, with Alistair taking the first watch.
Hello. Perception? 17.
Actually, if you're going to be concentrating on your book, you're not going to be able to roll perception.
Oh. That was more or less for flavor, if that's okay?
That's fine.
Okay. If it doesn't matter, then my passive is 11.
11.
11 or 17 rolled, whichever you go off of.
So if you're going to actually be concentrating, it is going to be a roll.
I plan on he would, because there's not really a reason for him to be out of his book. He'll probably glance at it every once in a while, but mostly paying attention. I do.
Alright.
Cool. So yeah, 17.
During Alistair's watch, nothing event. Dirty 20. During your watch, a large furry rodent about the size of a 8-week-old kitten wanders into your campsite. It kind of skitters up to you, stops, and looks up.
I don't know what it is.
Go ahead and make me a survival check.
14.
14. So looking at it, you can see it's got kind of a small head, brown hair that's kind of wet and matted, and very small hands and feet. You're pretty sure that this is some form of muskrat.
I guess I kind of just let it eat maybe, or get like a little piece of one of my rations.
Okay. You take out a small ration piece and hold it down toward it, and it grittably walks up, bites it, and then disappears into nearby bushes. And that is the only eventful thing that happens on your watch.
But then, yeah, I just summon my bright ass arms just to get that thing a piece of food.
Okay. Third on watch.
Me? That is a 22.
22. Noted. You keep a very watchful eye on your surroundings, fearing that something may go bump in the night. But nothing does. And then fourth watch.
This is where I vomit.
But nothing does. And then fourth watch.
This is where I vomit. Oh. It's perception?
Yep.
25.
25.
He's watching me count the counter.
Unfortunately, as the night progresses and gets to the deepest part, it starts to get bitterly cold. You can start to see your breath, and something happens that may or may not affect you guys. Then, towards the end of your shift, morning light begins to peek above the horizon.
Alright, so basically it just got cold and the sun came up.
Yep. When you wake up, you can see that the grass and plants around you have actually kind of frosted over. Plants around you have actually kind of frosted over. The morning dew now frozen, making it relatively chilly, even for basically early autumn. It's technically the month you're in.
Start the fire again, please.
Do we get the benefits of long rest and level up?
You get the benefits of long rest.
And level up?
Yes.
That's all.
Cool.
We don't level up because we don't have that.
I have
Oh, your hit
3
points.
games.
How much more XP do we need? It wasn't very
Guys,
much.
guess what? I have 24 hit points now.
Actually, it's almost midsummer, so it's very cold for basically a late spring morning.
Believe it or not, I have 26 hit points now.
I don't know how I do.
What's my hit die? Is it D8?
D8.
Yes.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm stupid.
So those who are able to level up, go ahead and level for everybody
Turn
to
our
read them.
inspiration point into stone.
Okay, so 2700. I gotta do math.
Oh, I can do that to initiative now.
You mean 45? Okay. I'm gonna write that down because I'm gonna forget it.
Still 2.
Okay, so I got cold.
Okay.
I'm gonna go gather more sticks for a little bit larger fire since it's the morning.
Okay.
And I'm gonna eat my rations.
Oh, no. Don't bother. Let me this time. And Alistair will flip to his book and spend...
I'm gonna eat my rations.
Oh, no. Don't bother. Let me this time. And Alistair will flip to his book and spend a quick 11 minutes, or 10 minutes. And at the end of it, he has a couple pieces of wood and string, almost like you would have a puppet. He rubs it together, holds it out, and goes, "Well, save it." And nothing visual happens. Alistair goes, "Go get some wood."
Thank you
And
for wasting my time.
Oh, no. And then off not too far, you see sticks floating in the air. Because I have an unseen servant go get me wood. Come on back.
Interesting.
I just learned that. It's pretty cool, right?
Mark off that spell
Pretty
slot.
warm if you let me gather sticks.
I mean, I'm not that cold, but I mean, it's a shameful. It's a little chilly, I'll say. It's a little bit, but like, come on, it was cool.
My whiskers are frozen.
Sticks.
I mean, I'm not that cold, but I mean, it's shameful. It's a little chilly, I'll say. It's a little bit, but like, come on, it was cool.
My whiskers are frozen.
It's good to maintain a good body temperature.
I'll let you get one next time. If you want a more immediate solution, I could just.
I mean, I'm covered in fur.
I don't know you that well.
I'd probably burn you. I'd probably.
Exactly. I would rather have my feline eyebrows remain on my face.
It is a neat spell.
Come on, I figured the more you know, your fur, keep you warm, right?
For the record, in game, none of you have had a conversation about what your plans are.
I was thinking about having it.
So, we're gonna go to Waterdeep and tell people about that, right?
Probably should.
Good, because I also have
Is
one.
there a closer
Tell
town?
people about what?
People about that, right?
Probably should.
Good, because I also have
Is
one.
there a closer
Tell
town?
people about what?
Waterdeep would have the bigger, bigger town, and what?
Tell people about what?
The whole thing back there at the town. Right. You were. I don't know where you were. There were a lot of things back there that were big and mean and burst out of people's chests, and they all might have gotten free.
Right.
Also, one other issue. I realized. Okay, so you may not like this, but me and Killian might have tried to do something while you guys were up in the other tent.
I'm gonna look over the horizon and see if I can see the fire on the city, like if more of the city is burning since we left it.
Ooh, good question. You're a fair distance away now, but go ahead and give me a perception check. I'm going to say this is going to be a disadvantage.
Double 19. That's 25.
20 black smoke at this point. It's probably burnt out and it's just smoldering.
I gotta pray to Shantae to keep other travelers away from the town instead of grow out food.
Okay.
So, me and Killian might have tried to dissect one of the people that to do some research, figure out more about the thing. And I'm worried now because, well, and Alistair will show you a big gash on his wrist.
You two are cut.
Yeah.
You see that even after a full night's rest, all your other wounds have begun to close and you feel refreshed. But this still looks fresh and has not started healing at all.
So, we did realize that those red ones are immune to fire and lightning, so don't do that. Also, if, okay, I'm not an expert at math. I kind of am, but there were only 2 holes on a person's body there. One of them, the other one. I kind of am, but there were only 2 holes on a person's body there. One of them, the other one.
Well, I mean, you
Can I
got
make
your
an
nose
intelligence
holes,
check or a
eye
wisdom
holes,
check,
your
something
ear
to-
holes.
Okay, those are those holes I'm supposed to have. I'm
To
very.
relate the two? I don't know.
You don't have to make a wisdom check to relate the two.
I'm a little worried that maybe, this is an issue and maybe we should find someone where people might know something else about
Well,
that.
the only thing that I can do right now for you to
Chop your arm off.
minorly get you comfortable is
That would
Yeah, let's
because
chop his
it goes-
arm off.
I'm gonna
It goes in
spend
the belly
both,
though
both
afterwards.
my second level spells. I'm gonna cast Lesser Restoration on both Killian and Alistair.
Killian's disappeared.
He's disappeared. I thought he was with us.
I wouldn't really want you to waste something with that level right now. Well, we don't know if that'll help or not.
It's fine.
Because less restoration is a little.
If we chop your arm off, there's a good chance we might actually be
I don't want to end up like
I'm still
him.
gonna cast Lesser
I said
Restoration
chop his
on my
arm
knee,
off.
because I did that to the guy
It
in
might be
town.
necessary. This could be terminal.
I mean, it probably is at this rate, but I don't think my arm's going to be the
To
solution
test
to that.
What if
actually,
you got to lose? It's either your arm right now, and hopefully.
to test the theory,
I'd rather talk to a professional.
I'm gonna cast Lesser Restoration on
Your
Alistair.
prerogative.
And then immediately afterwards, I would like to cast Healing Cure Wounds on him to test if any effect has happened.
Okay. So you cast both of those in quick succession, mark both of those spell slots off, and you see this wound close and then immediately reopen itself.
Interesting.
Alright. You hold him down, you cut off his arm.
No. A small piece of wood.
No,
I'm
if
not
It
anything,
doesn't
it's
cost
strong
money, so it
enough.
doesn't matter.
if anything, it'd
Yeah,
be
it's
inside of his chest at this point.
We could have beat it. It could still be in his bloodstream.
How do you know
After
it goes
a
in the
full day
bloodstream?
and night-
Here in that moment.
It was also got really it's also really cold now, so maybe it slowed your blood flow a little bit.
That's not how that works.
This may be
Not
his
with this
best
little
fighting option.
Let's go find an expert. You're with me on this, right? I'd like to keep my arm. If you cut off my arm, you're paying to have it put back on.
I don't think we have to
Okay.
do anything for that.
So
I think we can just turn it into like some sort of back scratcher.
No.
You can have it.
Well, if we head to Waterdeep, there's going to be somebody somewhere.
I can just have this guy scratch my back.
I'm assuming I didn't find the notes when I was
I
searching
have
for
no
it.
idea what he's doing.
You do
don't
not,
do
unfortunately.
functional features. That's Tasha's Tasha's
Oh,
stuff.
it's Tasha's.
Yeah.
Okay, that
So we have to head to Waterdeep anyway.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We might as well.
Go to an expert.
Do we have to go through Daggerford to get to Waterdeep from Hyrule?
You don't have to.
Okay, but is it closer?
Is it closer? I can't see the map.
It would be theoretically closer. It only shows the high road.
It's up to you if that's what you would like to do.
I think we'll go to Waterdeep. I think that would probably be the best bet.
Just stick water.
There's nowhere else we can go, like
Daggerford.
Daggerford.
That's- Having passed through Daggerford, I assume it's fairly smaller of a town. Probably not that, big, or would it?
It's a smaller town, about the same size as Succumber.
So you see, I imagine that Waterdeep will just have enough to where we can find someone there, because Waterdeep is where a lot of important people go.
It'll also be far more expensive to get anywhere.
We're already in debt. Not you, but us.
Hey, it might cost
not
you an arm.
Exactly, and probably a leg. But you know what? At least I'll keep all my parts.
Well, I think we should make haste because
We can't go to Goldfield.
we don't know exactly how long it is till we become
Pop.
incapacitated.
And
So we become
pop.
incapacitated.
And I think I'm at least a little helpful. I hope, maybe.
Golden Fields is out of the question.
Goldfields
I-
would be 18 days. I don't know. If we
Not
have
to
that
mention,
time.
there's nothing there as far as experts in this kind of thing.
We have
medical.
We don't know exactly how long it would have taken for this town to be affected.
Or what
Or
if
how it
we...
got affected. No one asked how. What happened there? What are those things?
I tried to find notes. I couldn't find any notes.
That's okay. We didn't really have much time.
We can't go to any other towns in
Why
a
do you
different...
want to go anywhere but Waterdeep? Waterdeep's gonna have the best bet for all day, and it's not that far away. Oh, I get it.
Oh God, it's 3 in the afternoon.
What?
You have an X there you don't want to see.
We don't speak of any...
That's fine. We probably won't run.
X's.
It's a big place, so we probably won't run into them there. It'll be fine. We probably won't run.
X's.
It's a big place, so we probably won't run into them there. It'll be fine.
Well,
If
I
anything,
will
just wear a
count
mask,
on
they
you
won't see
to make
you.
sure I remain inconspicuous, because he has eyes everywhere.
Well, I mean, I can't really, do that, but that's fine. I don't have those kind of standards.
Who's he?
My ex,
Oh, was it actually an X?
Bradford.
That's
Inside
inside
check that.
Do you want the modifier or this total stat?
So you cannot insight check other players.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Do you believe it?
The way that you just said Bradford kind of made me not.
Who knows?
So do you want like the modifier or the stat itself? And the,
I don't care.
okay, we'll go with that.
Trying to figure out how to speak.
Okay, in all honesty, it's a she, not a he.
Oh,
But I would prefer
okay.
my father not find out about
Look, you
that.
can swing whatever way. It don't matter.
So, if we can keep that detail on the down low.
No problem. We'll keep you inconspicuous from any watching eyes. I know that. Trust me, I know the same.
24 hit points.
Trust me, I know the same. Because
I rolled a 3.
I might have had an issue in
Well,
Candlekeep
the
with
almost kind
a.
of like the plus 5.
Just
I don't
play
know.
into stat.
I know what you mean. So as long as we don't go to Candlekeep either, we'll be good.
Aren't you like
If we do,
12?
if you've got my
What?
back now, I've got your back now.
I am 21.
No matter where we go, if you want to ride, keep charging now.
Yeah! Probably make some good money from that.
He's like, bro,
I want to know what's in the sink.
we'll be fine. Sorry.
Alistair.
That's
Wait,
just the
you
way.
have 20. You have less hit points than me.
I don't have less hit points than you.
I got a +2 to my con.
I have a +3 to my con.
Sorry.
Alistair.
That's
Wait,
just the
you
way.
have 20. You have less hit points than me.
I don't have less hit points than you.
I got a +2 to my con.
I have a +3 to my con.
Did you add it when you rolled your hit points?
I added it. Yeah, that should be it.
You have tough.
Listen, I just manage everything. No, tough would make it like 40 something.
What? No, it's only 2 per level.
Oh,
It would make it 20 or 30 from that.
Yeah, no, I have 24 hit points.
Put your name on the back.
Weird. Oh, me.
Can you put your initiative
What was that?
and name?
Alright, so I guess we
Wandering.
will make our way.
The sooner the
I
better.
wouldn't say enough to normal day travel, that way we don't exhaust ourselves. Should be far enough away from the city that these things can follow us.
I don't know how intelligent those things are, but I assume
Seemed pretty intelligent to me. They surrounded the tent and then they engaged.
that could just be. Even wolves do that though, so they're at least as
That-
intelligent as that.
In my opinion, that was all coincidence because the one that was here that went on the one side that surrounded the tent, it was coincidence. Because that one was trying to find me.
So they-
it didn't feel good when they bit me.
Or
So-
scratched me.
Well,
You
that
didn't
was
get
your own
scratched,
stupid-
right?
No.
Just bit. Okay. But
They
me and
tried.
Killian both got scratched, so worry about that. Let's go at least go figure out what those creatures are to start.
Yeah, that
Has
might be
anybody
helpful.
considered that? I don't know if I would know that actually. If it was magic, because it seemed like when you closed his wound, it would take magic to open it back up.
Or curse.
A lot of creatures are like considered somewhat magical, so I don't know that much. The magic that dispels magic, yeah, that's a little higher than me right now. Sorry.
Either way,
Can I borrow the blue?
we're gonna make our way towards Waterdeep. It should be 9 days, if I remember correctly. If Waterdeep is the halfway point.
It's 3 days away from Golden Fields,
So it's
so it's 15.
days away from us.
Yeah, let's hurry to Waterdeep.
Let's go.
Oh, that's right.
Thus begins the journey back.
Thus
I'm gonna
begins.
keep a very careful eye on Alistair and I don't know where
Killian.
Killian is, but
Yeah.
both of them, just to make sure that they don't show any weird symptoms of whatever it is.
Excuse me.
Obviously, eye on Alistair and I don't know where
Killian.
Killian is, but
Yeah.
both of them, just to make sure that they don't show any weird symptoms of whatever it is.
Excuse me.
Obviously, they have a weird symptom of their wound opening.
Staying open.
May I move rations off of you, please?
Right, we got 15 days worth of rations. I only have 14 days.
We might have to do some hunting if possible,
You might just.
Yeah.
or gathering of.
I have
berries.
enough to get to.
I have 11 days of rations.
I have
Yeah.
14
You
days.
have 1 month.
Fuck.
So you've got the most, bud.
I'd expected to get more rations in the town of Songbird, but
Me too. So I guess
Agreed.
I'm doing some hunting and some gathering if I can.
So you good at that?
I have survival proficiency.
I lived in the wilds for probably 6 months of my life, so I'm pretty good at it.
My best.
And
So you good at that?
I have survival proficiency.
I lived in the wilds for probably 6 months of my life, so I'm pretty good at it.
My best experience with that is searching the cafeteria in the middle of the night for food I can't keep. Also,
So
I
I
think
guess
that
we'll
bag
go
right there
hunting.
has my pencils, if you want to grab that. The black bag? Black bag.
This one
Yeah.
right here?
Yeah, that has my pencils. I was wondering where that was. Thank you.
I suppose we'll go hunting then. At some
Or
point.
gathering
Gathering would be easier.
fruit trees and the such as we're walking.
I don't think I will be very helpful with the hunting part.
That's okay. I'll keep my eye out as well.
I could
for
hunt
any
for pretty much
small
10
game
minutes.
or signs of small
Or I
game
could kick a deer to
that
death.
we could find.
You could probably teach me. And like,
Possibly,
if I hit it with fire, it will get cooked at the same time.
Don't take this the
Considered
wrong
probably
way,
small
but in order to hunt, you actually have to be able to remain silent.
Ah, kicker.
Not your,
Ah, kicker.
not your strong suit, from what I gather from.
Oh no! It really is
It's
not.
really
It's a real
easy
problem.
to suit.
I don't even wear a suit though.
That being said, I don't think you'll be much help with
I have spent much
The
time in the wilds.
get up
Pretty.
as I point to all of your armor.
You might blend in.
I'll be
Okay.
fine.
Well, I'll go that way. You can go that way.
Yes, what a choice.
Fair enough.
What just
How about a competition?
We're not gonna go far.
I don't want your disadvantage on stuff. If we have to use it.
I'm not worried about that.
Okay, fine. We'll
So
stay
the two
together.
cats were gonna go hunting.
They
Good deal.
kick a goddamn deer to death. So.
I mean, they're probably fast enough to catch deer.
Uh-huh.
And then you just
They're
go
all jump.
So, for hunting while traveling, I'm going to say it's going to take a day, and depending on your rolls, you'll get X amount of days of food.
That's
Right.
not.
For the sake of it, that it's going to have to be an extended thing. You have to spend a significant amount of time to do.
Like it would take
To
an
actually
extra
sustain
day
yourself.
To do all of this over the course of the time. that
Well,
you're
it's either that or we die of starvation.
I'm
So.
doing that.
No, it's like you're going to stop, take a day,
I
and
mean,
actually do all of the hunting and the gathering.
If we do
those
that,
things.
then
Let's
we
do
should
that
be
now.
good.
And
Okay.
you always run the risk of, if you totally biff it, you won't get anything, and you'll have wasted another day. That's always going to be a risk.
Fair enough.
Now, how
Let's
about
do
this?
today?
If I can
before we leave.
keep quiet, I might be able to help.
If you can keep quiet.
Yes. I can keep quiet if absolutely necessary.
That's
Hold
a
up.
big if.
I kept.
Whoa, think about this. A whole day of Alistair not talking.
Look, I kept quiet when there was, the
Mind you, we've
problems.
spent 18 days of him non-stop chatter.
I get that though. If I go hunting and he stays here.
Alistair not talking.
Look, I kept quiet when there was, the
Mind you, we've
problems.
spent 18 days of him non-stop chatter.
I get that though. If I go hunting and he stays here.
or he can go hunting in a different area.
Like on my own.
So,
No.
for
You
hunting
go-
as well.
You go gather.
Somebody's.
You gather.
You can be with me.
I'll do that.
So,
we'll do it together.
for hunting, I'm going to say
Okay.
there's going to be one check, and that is your absolute best attempt at getting it done. Okay? So, 2 people can do it separately, or 1 person can do it with advantage.
If needed, can I
Do it
cross shift
separately?
it?
I have proficiency.
Since
will
it
be
takes
fine.
place over an entire day, I'm
That's
going to say
that's
no.
what I figured.
Somehow.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm really good at it.
So you're getting advantage
I'll
to
do
it? Or
no, I think we'll both roll separately since
Are we
you want
rolling
to do it
separately?
yourself.
I don't
I'll do
care. I
it
can give you advantage if you want.
Let's roll separately.
Separately? Okay.
have fun.
Two
Okay.
different parties.
What kind of roll is
So,
it?
make me a survival check.
If you want, I
For a second, but your weight is too much and unfortunately topples over, hitting the ground and scattering the animals.
I got
You,
one.
however, are incredibly successful with the 24. Standing in front of you, you see a full elk.
Oh,
Go
yes.
ahead and make me a stealth check to try to sneak up into the point where you can actually attack it.
It's one of my best skills. I'm too scared to roll this one. Okay. That is going to be a 15. I get to know if it succeeds or not before I use my side eye on it.
You are going to succeed.
Okay. I'm not going
So you successfully sneak up to it, and now just go ahead and give me an attack roll. You beat its AC, you're going to take it down.
Okay. Attack roll. Attack roll. I'm going to use my psychic blades on it with
Okay.
my sneak attack.
Oof, use your psychic blades. It won't even be.
With a 13, you actually are going to succeed. I mean,
Oh,
you see
goodness.
the elk sit there and then stand alerted for a second, go rigid, and just flop over to the side.
Now comes the really hard part. May I carry this deer back to the party?
I have to bring
Elk.
Kona.
Elk.
start yelling.
Remember, you're small. Elk. Big.
Okay. I am going
Yell
to.
for the minute.
But we're not going to worry about that.
Okay.
What you are going to have to do is make me a survival check to gather as much material as you can from this creature.
This is going to be a failure.
Oh, please. It's a 15.
A 15? A 15's not bad.
Okay. proficient in this so I can use a side die on it if I failed.
If you failed or if you want to.
If I want to. So I can use a side die on it. Basically, if I don't roll high enough to pass, I can roll a side die to increase the roll, and if I still...
If you failed or if you want to.
If I want to. So I can use a side die on it. Basically, if I don't roll high enough to pass, I can roll a side die to increase the roll, and if I still fail, it doesn't count. It doesn't take one of my side dies away.
That's super perfect.
Right? If it only takes it away if I succeed. But I just, yeah.
So through this, you are going to gain an extra 9 days of rations.
Oh,
Not
nice.
bad. Not bad.
Total?
For me or for everybody?
So you can, and it's going to be, I'll say for everybody.
Okay.
Oh.
Elks are big.
So is it 9 per or just?
9
I
total.
just answered that question.
9 per.
9 everybody.
I got confused. Okay, I'm sorry.
You're good. So- And we'll say as part of the day, you're going to take the day, smoking the meat, getting it ready for travel,
Okay.
that kind of thing.
So,
I've not
Plus
ever
9.
seen or
Each
tried
through
to
No.
take them because they probably are worth something.
Dude, that's a good question. With a 15, yeah, I'll say you're able to gather them.
Okay, so I had 2 elk antlers.
Holy crap. It is a 10-point elk. It is massive.
Jesus.
oh no. What a fun.
Okay. Oh crud! I just realized I could have done that. I could have linked our minds before we went hunting.
So
Yeah.
Yep. That's the big boy.
Oh, dude. That's dope.
that's 10-point antlers.
That won't.
That's dope. Okay. So I'm gonna put everything in a tree to keep it away from like bears and other animals, while I run to find the party to get them back to this elk to get their rations.
Okay, okay. You can definitely do that.
You're small. Or you can just carry your bloody rations.
I don't know if I'm strong enough to carry the bloody rations. Am I strong enough to carry that in my antlers?
Absolutely not. So when you go hunting and you take down an elk, you have to quarter it.
Yep.
And taking 2 of those quarters and walking with them takes everything you have in you. It is incredibly heavy.
Okay.
You're a little person trying to do it.
Just in a pulley.
I'm also
dragging.
going to cover the ground where I gutted this thing with like dirt and stuff to try and dampen the scent. Basically, whatever I can do to keep animals from coming near my kill.
Okay.
And I'm gonna sprinkle flowers where I killed it.
Did you manage to gather flowers?
I had some on me already.
Did you manage to gather flowers?
I had some on me already.
Eventually I'll find you enough.
Okay.
For sake of time.
I shouldn't have even mentioned other animals because I feel like I just gave them ammunition.
Or he's reading something.
Could be.
Okay. So a 10-point rack is apparently worth only like $200.
How much? What?
$200. So it's worth like 20 gold pieces.
It's not bad.
Which is not bad. I mean, for a commoner, 20 gold pieces is a lot of coin.
Yeah.
Because
And I need
only a
that,
day's
so-
pay is like a silver piece.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm taking on
Added and
15 right now,
For
so
the travel continued.
8 left.
So that one was quite successful. And for the sake of it, we're going to say, in this case, you're just going to go those extra 15 days. Which means you're going to arrive outside the gates of Waterdeep on the night of the 24th. Nothing all that interesting happened through this travel, especially because you literally just walked through the area.
You said the 21st?
24th.
24th.
Yep.
Let me cover those notes. So that's how much time has passed since the start of the campaign because of travel, which is why I wanted birthdays, because they will be relevant.
So it's 24th now?
Yep.
We start at the 9th?
We would have spent the rest of the day.
It's 24th now?
Yep.
We start at the 9th?
We would have spent the rest of the day of the 8th running. And the
Basically, total travel time was 17 days to go from Succumber all the way to Waterdeep.
Makes sense. Alright. Finally done transferring my spells into my new spell book.
You wake up the morning of the 25th and you begin to walk towards Waterdeep. I will be sending you guys a map of Waterdeep in the group chat. I would have printed them, but I honestly forgot.
Fair.
What's the name of this one? Sorry.
Hi, son.
Hi, son.
So if people would like, I can print them all out, their own calendars if they want to keep track of it. So if people would like, I can print them all out, their own calendars if they want to keep track of the days.
I would like that, actually. I would like a calendar.
Okay, we can definitely do it.
I've never been to Waterdeep, so I have no idea which gate to use.
Alistair and Killian were, but only in passing.
I've never been to the Waterdeep either.
50%.
I know.
Has anybody been to Waterdeep? Do we know
I've
where?
only been there for, a little bit of time, passing through, but,
I said I came from the north, right?
But we know
I
that.
don't know where you said you came from.
Would
don't
I
remember.
have gone? I probably would have avoided.
I would know it generally, yeah, I
to
think.
Golden Fields.
Probably. I don't remember. I don't believe you actually chose a location from the map.
Yeah.
Do you want
So I guess we're coming in from the southern.
Oh, sure.
One of the two southern gates.
So-
Or whichever one it is.
You guys, from basically where you're heading from, you can have the choice of either going into Waterdeep through the trade ward, or
I wonder if it is. I've never been.
I feel like I would have that information.
So, would Alistair maybe know, or
Yeah, I don't know.
Knight
If
know the
somebody
differences
knows the
between them all?
city.
so
That's my
you guys would actually all have knowledge of Waterdeep. Waterdeep is the largest city in the north.
It's like New York.
It's like New York. You have basic knowledge of the wards, what's in them, and the things in Waterdeep. There are two large cities in the north. There's Waterdeep and Neverwinter. Neverwinter is a shitty hellhole that is a crumb of its former self. And then there's Waterdeep, which is known as the Jewel of the North. So,
Where is Neverwinter anyway?
much further north.
Yep, underneath this.
Ah, I see it now.
Yep.
Cool.
So Neverwinter has had many problems lately. And if you go there, you might learn more about the lore.
Okay.
Still a big city, but nowhere compared to Waterdeep. So you would know that the trade ward is where you,
Ah, I see it now.
Yep.
Cool.
so Neverwinter has had many problems lately. And if you go there, you might learn more about the lore.
Okay.
Still a big city, but nowhere compared to Waterdeep. So you would know that the trade ward is where you can find literally anything. The trade ward is a massive part of the city where basically all of the main trade is done. This is where you'd go to find blacksmith, carpenters, things of that nature.
I think we should start there and resupply.
Real quick question, Tyler.
Hmm.
How much does my spell tome weigh? My book.
Probably like, I don't know, 3 pounds.
Cool. For about 11 minutes before we get into Waterdeep, I am going to ritual cast Wrist Pocket, and once I'm done, I will take my book, say nothing. Actually, there's no verbal, and just it's gone.
Stop.
I just don't want, pickpocket. It lasts for 1 hour, and we said ritual casting doesn't take spell slot, right?
It does not.
Cool. Then I will just keep ritual casting that after the hour stuff while we're in a big city like this.
Okay. So to ritual cast, you have to stop and concentrate on something.
When I get the chance, yeah, I will.
Okay.
But for now, it'll last an hour.
So
Is there any signs of any change between Alistair and
We'll actually get to Alistair in a moment. But for Waterdeep, so there's the Trade Ward, which I just explained, and then there's the Southern Ward, which is the poorest part of the city, and it's normally crammed with a bunch of the caravan merchants who work in the condition part of Waterdeep.
So we should go in through the trade.
I mean, we can at least find everything there. Church. Hey.
We're playing new.
So, there's the Trade Ward, where all the trade in the city is done. In the Trade Ward, you can find anything you could possibly need. Then there's the Southern Ward, the poor, terrible living condition part of Waterdeep. This is basic knowledge, you would all know that.
Okay, so it sounds like the trade ward is the one we're gonna go at, especially if we can find anything.
Vote for the trade board instead too.
might also be able to find information on people in the city might be able to help.
With both. The other city and here. Yes.
Speaking of which, how does he look?
There is so far no change to Alistair.
Do I feel any
But
different?
even after those 15 days, there's no sign of healing on his wound.
And there's been no bleeding either. It's just
None.
Open.
interesting.
Yeah, that's freaky. Never had anything like this.
I'm gonna go check in with somebody who knows a little bit more about
Would we-
arcane.
Would we know
Possibly.
where, like, a chapel would be, or healers of any sort?
Is there a church of Fontaine near here since it's next to Golden Field?
So, Waterdeep, as you know, is an incredibly diverse city and houses temples to the vast majority of gods. Waterdeep is home to 10 of the largest temples in the area. There are the
Like Bahamut, Torm, stuff like that.
things like that. Yep, Bahamut, Torm, Helm, gods like that. Shantae would not be on that list, but there's probably a smaller temple somewhere there.
Somebody, a god that may have been liked by Shantae. Maybe one in the same pantheon or nearby, like Sylvanas or Saloon, somebody of that sort.
They would all have their own temples.
Oh, so okay.
There-
Whether they're very large or just basic shrines, there's going to be something in Waterdeep.
Okay.
So you know that Waterdeep is home to 130,000 people, all of different races, creeds, everything. Mainly human, halfling, dwarf. There are some elves in the city as well. So there's a vast array of different people who all worship different religions, and for the vast majority of them, they're all perfectly legal, allowed.
Before we go into Waterdeep, Agni will put up his hood and kind of cover shadow his face on his cloak and try to just hide all skin.
There's not much I can do for myself. So.
Alistair just puts his book away in the wrist pocket dimension. So
Okay. Have you guys decided whether you're going to take the northern road into the
Northern Road Trade Road.
trade road?
yeah, definitely.
You can also swing all the way around, and you can go through the field ward, which takes you directly to the sea ward and the north ward.
We'll just go through
I think the trade word
Yeah,
have more
trade word.
information anyway about where and what can be done.
Yes.
Which takes you directly to the sea ward and the north ward.
We'll just go through
I think the trade word
Yeah,
have more
trade word.
information anyway about where and what can be done.
Yes.
Very well. As you begin approaching, you can see the massive walls that protect Waterdeep. In front of the entrance, you'd see two statues. Massive statues reaching almost 80 feet tall of knights in clad armor wielding these massive great swords and a shield bigger than most buildings. You would know that Waterdeep has these at every entrance.
These were statues?
Statues.
Cool.
And as you begin approach, due to your incredibly motley crew, it's a pretty expected response as the guards leave their post and begin approaching you.
Agni would be pulling
The
it.
word for that, a little weird. Yeah. Alistair will wave to the guards.
I'm gonna just have my holy symbol of Shantae out.
I'm gonna step behind the Minotaur.
Okay.
And shyness.
Alright. And the guards begin approaching, weapons not drawn, but hands on the blade. They see that you are so far not actively hostile. They begin approaching, and you can see they're all wearing the same symbol. It's this crown on a white and a yellow and red checkered background. It's on either a patch on the cape or actually engraved into the plate armor that they're wearing.
Is that symbol we'd recognize of any sort?
This is a symbol you would all recognize, except for, I would think, Leon and... Or, I would think Leon and...
It's in the chat.
It is in the chat.
I didn't
I
see
just
it.
saw that.
Cool. I actually...
The other stat blocks too when you guys finish them. No, I think only Leon would be the only one unfamiliar with this symbol. Everybody else would recognize this as the symbol of the Lord's Alliance. They're kind of a national guard of the North. They're a very large faction that's paid for through tax money in Neverwinter and other cities. They guard the High Road, the King Road, as well as taking care of a lot of guard duties in smaller towns.
Okay.
So roughly about 30% of all guards are smaller towns.
Okay.
So roughly about 30% of all guards are going to be employed by the Lord's Alliance.
Makes sense. Okay.
Then they're normally also very well martially trained. Let's see. Killian would know additional information, but he's not here.
I'm gonna just walk to kind of the front of the group since everyone seems to be hanging out. Hail.
A guard kind of holds his hand out, and 5 others kind of stop, and he cautiously approaches, wearing a bucket helm with a traveling cloak that is just this large sigil of the Lord's Alliance. Hail, traveler. May I ask what someone of your kind of looks up?
Because he's next to me and be like, we bring news, grave news from Succumber, and also seek aid for 2 of my companions.
Hello.
We were sent on a quest from I'm spacing the name right now.
The Abbey of
The Abbot Delic from Golden Fields, and we are returning from that trip. We wish to seek an individual who may have higher powers in sending aid to the city.
Go ahead and make a persuasion check.
That would be a 16.
The 16 kind of sits there and kind of peers around your wide torso over at Alistair. Sits there and kind of peers around your wide torso over at Alistair. Your friend appears to be fine so far.
His arm is less than fantastic, and
So
also it has
the-
not healed in many days.
The
even with-
cut on your arm was done by essentially an infant. It's only about that big.
Okay.
It essentially looks like a child hit you with a small dagger.
No, look at me like there's more to it than just the slash.
Most people would also say I have mental issues, but that's a different story.
Alistair.
Whoops.
We do have mental hospitals. In the there are some in the castle ward and an additional one in the dock ward. I would suggest perhaps checking him in there first.
Is there actually anyone that deals with arcane that we could speak to?
There are.
The situation in Succumber seems unnatural and maybe afflicting some of our party members. We wish to deal with that and also inform your higher supervision of the dangers that you may or may not be facing if you choose to aid them, or what is left of them, I should more so say.
There are many who are familiar with the arcane. The most notable of course, is the Blackstaff, leader of Force Grey. But I doubt you'd be able to get a meeting with him.
Is there any that you might assume that we could get a meeting with relatively hastily? The situation in Succumber I could explain to you. I don't believe you'd believe it if I said so.
Reporting to the Abbey, you would not have the political power to get yourself a meeting.
And we would like to at least stop and obtain some supplies. We're running low and would like to at least make some purchases before heading out.
Very well. But we will be keeping an eye on you. Don't try anything suspicious. You're easy to find.
Don't worry, I'm unarmed.
So you can't see his face, but you just see his head go and drop down.
We'll keep that in mind. Thank you. Now, start walking.
He kind of waves off, and the guards return back to their post, and you enter through the gates of Golden Fields. Golden Fields? Waterdeep.
So let's go find one of those places.
Now, start walking.
He kind of waves off, and the guards return back to their post, and you enter through the gates of Golden Fields. Golden Fields? Waterdeep.
So let's go find one of those places.
What was the arcane guy you talked about? What was that?
Known as the
Blackstaff.
Blackstaff.
But we
Leader of
probably won't
Force
get a
Grey
meeting
is what I heard.
I mean, it's worth a shot, but I mean, if not, we can at least just do what we said, get supplies and make haste towards someplace else that I have more leeway in.
I don't think we have much leeway.
I don't think we have any leeway here.
Pretty much no reputation.
Could I check to see if there's guards following me? Guards following us?
What I
Like just
noticed
like
that-
one like screen.
Yeah.
Just kinda-
So there are not guards actively following you, but there are guards everywhere.
Okay, let's go find one of those places quickly.
Okay. You
Well, we probably should go shopping and figure out where those places are. Guards are not very helpful with that.
He did say one was in the dock, and I think one was in the north, right?
He said that there was a mental hospital in the castle ward
Castle
and the northern portion
I
of the
don't think a
dock
mental
ward.
hospital is going to help with that issue.
I have one issue.
Might, actually. In fact, I actually do want to stop at one at some point, but that's after we get this stuff settled out. Yeah,
Is there, I don't have that much gold along me, do I? Nope. I'll look for just a regular general store.
There are dozens of stores. Walking into the trade ward, what you would see is, how to describe, a plethora of stalls, all with tapestries covering the basic potions. You even see a couple shops around that perhaps might sell a couple magic items.
Alistair wants to specifically look around, see if he can find one that is more trustworthy, I guess is the word for it. See if the one that like stands out in any way as being more reputable. Trying to find more of a trustworthy or not so scammy type shop.
Alright. I will say this. You know that Waterdeep is a city of law and order, and is strict harshly.
Okay. Paranoia comes from Baldur's Gate is all.
Yep. So you know Waterdeep is almost the exact opposite of Baldur's Gate.
I'm gonna stick to the stalls because I don't think I'd fit inside the buildings.
So... like... to describe it in the best way possible, it's like you're a black man in a rich white neighborhood. People walking down the street stop, cross the road, walk past you, and then go back.
That's great.
That's understandable. I've been dealing with that since I was like,
That's why Agne's just like completely hiding like as much. You can only see like this much.
I'm gonna
Ye-
be waving at them.
Leon's
Year-
very intrigued because this is like the first time he's been in a big city, so he's very.
Alistair's very used to this kind of thing. Baldur's Gate was a shithole.
I need to find somewhere to sell my antlers.
So you could quite easily do that pretty much anywhere. You could do it at a basic like general goods store or at a jewelry shop, for instance. You would probably be able to make great use of that.
Alistair's number one priority right now is asking around finding someone who might be able to know about this kind of thing. Both strange...
A jewelry shop, for instance. You would probably be able to make great use of that.
Alistair's number one priority right now is asking around finding someone who might be able to know about this kind of thing. Both strange creatures
How do you
and...
find somebody who might know about that?
Alistair's going to ask around for 3 specific things. 1, those with the abilities to heal. 2, those with knowledges of strange monsters. 3, libraries or scholars.
Okay. How much time are you going to spend in Waterdeep?
He's going to spend the whole day searching for someone for this.
Okay. Because remember, 130,000 people live there. That doesn't count travelers, dock workers, mercenaries, that sort of thing.
Right.
I think we could probably find a shrine to Saloon, and there probably will be plenty of healers there.
I'm sure that if we also ask anyone at the general store, we should be able to.
Then I would at least want to ask about a scholar or library. That way I can do research on those kind of things. Maybe I can find something on some texts. Kind of have a knack for books and whatnot. Might be able to find some information there. Yep. Where I come from, everyone was.
Nerdsville.
Alistair doing that. Is anybody else doing anything specific?
Selling my antlers.
Selling your answer, you're easily able to do that and
Okay,
collect the
do
gold.
I get what you told me?
Yep.
Okay.
I don't do that whole shopping thing, waste too much time. Unless it's for something specific.
Was it 20 gold each set or for both?
20 gold for the set.
Leon would just want to explore because, again, this is the first time he's very intrigued by all this.
Yeah, for Leon, it is quite the sight. People are constantly looking at you, but not avoiding you in the same way they're doing Kuma. But they're definitely like... Tabaxi is a rare sight. In fact, as you kind of walk around, a older woman, gray hair and kind of a top knot, approaches you and goes, "Oh, you poor thing," and gives you a copper piece. She doesn't know where to put it, so she just kind of like undoes a wrap on your arm and kind of puts it in there. Awkwardly kind of pats it and walks away.
Yeah, just,
You can't get that out of there now. You're like a diet can. 50% less beans.
what?
What?
Oh, Costco beans. I get it. I get it. I hate it, but I get it.
Okay. I also need to buy more rations. Stock on rations.
Rations you can also easily buy.
Okay. I don't remember how much this cost. Okay.
It is a...
5 silver pieces per.
Yep, 5 per.
And then supplies for 1 day of rations. I'm actually going to do
It's 10 silver and a gold.
the same. I'm gonna get
I'm also gonna buy some.
You can also easily buy.
Okay. I don't remember how much this cost. Okay.
It is a...
5 silver pieces per.
Yep, 5 per.
And then supplies for 1 day of rations. I'm actually going to do
It's 10 silver and a gold.
the same. I'm gonna get
I'm also gonna buy some.
So 1 gold buys 2 days.
Yes. 1 gold. 2 days.
Alistair,
Hello.
go ahead and make me... Oh god, let's see. Just roll me d20.
1 gold is
D20 is a 10.
10. Okay.
The most neutral of all rolls.
So, walking around for an hour, you talk to many different people, and they kind of stop and they're like, I mean,
20 days.
I don't know anyone in particular. Most mages keep to themselves in the North Ward.
North Ward for mages. Good to know. Sounds like that kind of place. Thank you. Alistair, after he gets that information, he's going to go back to find Kuma. That's what I thought. Okay. I was thinking like Kumo or something like that.
So, Alistair, fortunately for you, you never talked about meeting up somewhere else. So everybody's just kind of and dispersed throughout the city.
Knowing where they last were in the trade area, he's going to ask around for the really big guy and look for crowds that have been separated like a sea.
Okay.
Which I think it'll be pretty easy to find him at that point.
Make me a perception check.
That's 18.
For Noah's Ark.
18.
Yeah.
So you see going down two paths. On one, there's a crowd of people surrounding something, and on the other, everybody stopped, split on two different sides of the street, all looking in one direction.
Wonder where he is.
I wanted to try and find a block and tackle and maybe some fishing equipment.
Yeah, you can find those. You could be able to buy those in the for the general price in the player's handbook.
Is it safe to say I found Kuma then?
Yep, you see Kuma walking around talking to some poor old fisherman who's standing there just wide-eyed, eyeing him head back, looking almost like a surprised cat. Just kind of
While they're looking like
handing him stuff.
You can get a discount
Yeah.
or intimidation.
Place a gold piece in his hand.
I'm
Very
no-
slowly and smile.
that when they're just paralyzed looking at Kuma, I'm going to walk straight up to Kuma and go, so Kuma, we got something to do. Let's go check out that cathedral area or whatever, that chapel thing. And then after I know where some mages are and maybe a library, then I can go check there in case we don't find anything at your feisty area. Sound good? Cool, let's go.
Who's the priest? Yes.
I'll try fairies.
Who's the priest too?
Priest, thing. And then after I know where some mages are and maybe a library, then I can go check there in case we don't find anything at your feisty area. Sound good? Cool, let's go.
Who's the priest too? Yes.
I'll try fairies.
Who's the priest too?
Priest? Oh, you said, you have to
Some
learn.
like-
Yeah, that. I don't know gods. It's not my thing. I mean, I kind of do if I really think about it, but like, not my thing.
Well, I'm glad I have something worth contributing.
Very much so. Let's go.
I head
I'm
out
scared.
with Alistair.
Okay, so I'm with you guys still because I was just.
Yeah. I assume everyone is still here except for
The only
Leon.
one we're missing is the Tibet even no one.
Oh no.
I like the idea. Just like I'm now starting to walk, and my little notes are starting to jingle from coins.
Actually, on the other side of the street, there's a poor Leon who's been surrounded by a bunch of people. Some of them like tapping others, going,
Dance thing.
I'm just kind of. Man doesn't know what the hell's happening. He looks just like
Sit.
ah.
so poor Leon, very much like a confused cat, is just.
I'm gonna walk up,
Looks like Kid on
kind
the
of
normal
split
day.
the crowds, and be like, Leon, you've made quite a few friends.
I have no idea what's happening. These people are strange.
Aggie
I'm
probably
scared.
would have heard do a dance, and he would have like looked up and then realized, oh, there's Kuma.
Yeah, it's like I'm just set up. I don't know what's happening. Thank you for making them get away from me.
We have a place to be.
Okay.
Alistair found some information that might be valuable.
Yep. Let's go.
We head towards the temple first, right?
Double.
We head towards the temple first, right?
Double.
Devils. I know mages keep in the north ward. Would I know that would chapels and stuff be up there too, or would they be more in the castle ward?
You know that the chapels are actually in the Sea Ward.
I'm
where we
going to
expected.
specifically ask some people on the way if they know where the Temple of Saloon is.
They'd be for a Temple of Saloon. Yeah, they could give you basic directions to a smaller temple in the Sea Ward.
They're first.
I'm going to go there. That's the one that I trust the most right now.
Sounds good. We'll go there.
Okay.
Morals group, I believe.
Uh-huh.
All right. You walk, leaving the trade ward. You have to go through the castle ward and into the sea ward. The castle ward is where you'd see a bunch of more governmental buildings. You know that the castle ward is the seat. That the castle ward is the seat of power in Waterdeep. That is where the lords meet and everything kind of politically goes down.
I take it that's where a bunch of like nobles are. They're like housing there too, or just political buildings?
It's more political buildings, but there are, of course, your normal taverns and other businesses, that sort of thing.
Okay.
And the castle ward is where you'd find a bit more like highbrow things. Here you'd also see a higher military presence through better armed guards wearing better armor.
How many times do we get stopped?
Stopped? None. But you are constantly being watched. It's like there's a squad of 3 to 5 people or guards on every street corner that will just stop and watch you guys as you walk past.
I mean, we'll just continue.
There's the castle ward where you see Mount Waterdeep soaring into the sky. And then it kind of lowers itself to the sea ward. And then it basically drops off for the rest of the north, the trade, and the southern wards. The sea ward is covered in these massive, like, 30-person room villas. 30-person rooms, 30-room villas, where, like, the super rich live. This is where the majority of, like, you have to be incredibly wealthy to have a place like these
It's
homes.
like nice houses in Sydney or something. They'll live, like right next to the sea with a nice view and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
And here you are incredibly out of place. You see that the guards here are not necessarily heavily armored, but they're obvious who they are. They're in normal everyday attire, but they're constantly watching you. It's obvious their presence. They're trying to keep a bit more. Remember, these are the uber rich of the city. If they're walking, they believe they're above you, but you scare them. So they'll stop and they will take a different route to where they're going around different buildings, completely avoiding you.
Fair enough.
And you would eventually arrive at a small alabaster chapel. It's a chapel, but it's much smaller. It's not some huge skyrise with a massive pillar going all the way up to, the building.
It has enough where I could fit inside of it still. Like there's.
There are very, very much like a chapel. There are still very large doors, and the ceilings, of course, are like 30 feet high and vaulted. So you have to kind of bend over to step in, but then you fit relatively well.
What's the sigil, sorry?
The sigil for you.
Should be
Is it
7
saloon?
stars.
Sigil for you.
Should be
Is it
7
saloon?
stars.
The paravised by 7 stars?
It's whatever her generic symbol is.
I will refuse to go in.
So yeah.
Okay.
I'll sit out with you. Who is this to?
This particular
Saloon.
temple is to Saloon.
Saloon?
Saloon.
With an M?
And
S-U, or sorry, S-E-L. U with the little thing above it.
Umo?
N-E.
I believe, like, God of the Moon, friendly towards good aligned shape changers. Absolutely hates evil aligned shape changers.
She's the domain of knowledge, life, and twilight. She's maiden is what she's generally called. She's also our server lady, the Night White Lady, and she who guides.
Okay.
She is the mother of Shantae. One of them.
One? What?
Saloon and Shar are the two, and she who guides.
Okay.
She is the mother of Shantae. One of them.
One? What?
Saloon and Shar are the twin-headed goddesses.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
They are the ones who also created Shantae, who is semi-like their daughter.
And if I remember correctly, they fucking hate each other.
Not Shantae and Saloon, they get along just fine.
No,
But
Shar
Saloon
and
hate each other,
Saloon.
Yes, they despise each other. They're the exact opposites of each other.
Interesting
One
bit of
of
history.
light, one of dark.
Makes sense.
Probably one of the foundational gods of the universe. There's a lot of history behind it. I could go into it sometime if you'd like.
I'll stop paying attention.
What?
Anyways,
If I'm being
I
honest.
refuse to go in, and I will just sit outside and wait.
I will sit outside with you and just keep my eyes on the ground.
Alistair's going in as well.
Cumin, cumin, pepper, and salt. All
Hey!
Or he could be paprika.
Paprika.
for the love of God.
Yeah,
Say one word wrong, you derail your entire campaign. All right, VeggieTales the campaign. It's the cucumber. Roll for initiative.
oh my god, the religion side! The religion side's already there too.
Perfect.
Aren't they gods chosen?
Okay.
Where is my hairbrush? Okay,
What?
it's a VeggieTales song.
Yeah.
And I can sing it in German. I can also sing the hamburger song in German.
Let's
I think it's a
continue.
big Gaga song, isn't it?
I'm gonna
God, that's
walk
awesome.
inside, I guess.
Yeah, so you have to kind of like bend over, walk in, and as you straighten your back, everybody stops. There's pews of lined up going to the normal podium where the ceremonies take place, and everybody in the pews stops. Kind of turns back. The normal podium where the ceremonies take place, and everybody in the pews stops. Kind of turns back, sees you, and they all kind of scoot to the end of the pews.
Show me who guides.
We're making room for you.
Yes, push the pews to the side.
It's like there's an actual ceremony going on as we speak, or is there
It's a
acolytes that are moving around that we can speak to?
it's a much smaller. It seems to be almost more like a. I was gonna say Sunday school class, but it's more like Salune Day class, right? Where it's they appear to be younger people going on about the teachings of Salune, but it doesn't seem to be a highly religious like ceremony or anything like that.
It's like a self-worship,
Is there-
or
is there-
self-teaching kind of class.
Kind of ceremony or anything like that.
It's like a self-worship,
Is there-
or
is there-
self-teaching kind of class.
Kind of.
Is there any like priests of the church that are not participating in it that I could speak to?
Actually, as you look around, none of them are participating. It seems to be more of a peer-led exercise.
Let's go talk to that one.
I approach that one over there.
You see that there's one person who's not incredibly disturbed by your presence, and it's a older man wearing the traditional Salune garbs, which are, I'm sure, something, but I didn't expect you to go here, so I don't know. Because I cannot memorize all the gods of. Well, I think that's Salune,
All the
but
like
I know,
the
but
gods,
like,
they're
they
all.
would probably wear same.
yeah, he's wearing very basic priest robes. They're black, white collar. He's got the engraved, not engraved, but stitched into his robes. Embroidered. Thank you.
I'm gonna bow as generally lower and say good evening.
You walk up, and he kind of stops and gives you a slight bow. Good evening. Is there something I could help you with?
We actually come in question for aid. One of my compatriots here, and I'm pointing towards
Hello there.
Alistair, was injured in the last town, and it was not of normal means. We're curious about healing his wounds, but the efforts that I have done have not been to much avail.
He kind of looks over at Alistair, grabs his arm, kind of like yanks it, and kind of
That I have done have not been to much avail.
he kind of looks over at Alistair, grabs his arm, kind of like yanks it, and kind of starts to look at it. Not yanking in an aggressive way, but kind of old and just doesn't have the patience to deal with youth anymore. Kind of looks at it and goes, it's a simple scratch. I believe give it a couple days, it will close, and everything will be fine again.
Which has been 17 days since it opened, and the conditions that it opened with were less than natural. The city of Succumber was taken by some sort of animalistic plague. The bodies that lie there have this similar scratch and a gaping chest wound. The individuals that were there were incapacitated, if not dead. I fear the same situation may occur with him.
You say from Succumber?
Yes.
Interesting. You know, you are the second group to come with the very similar information, and thinking about it now, similar wounds to that, if not a bit bigger, within the past 10 days.
Oh, that's not good. Unfortunately, they saw the horrors before we did. We barely made it out.
Do you happen to know if that group is still in town?
Actually, they are still in town. Perhaps you'd like to come greet them. I have a feeling they'll be staying for a minute.
That would be quite useful.
Perfect.
What is your name?
You may call me Father Dory.
Father Dory. I am Kuma. I hail from Golden Fields. I'm currently on a quest from the
Goldenfields. Oh, perfect. I'm familiar with him. I can't fucking remember his name either.
It's an A name.
Dalek.
Dalek is his last
Dalek.
name, but it's Dalek. Aladdin.
We're calling him Aladdin.
That's not.
I haven't seen him in a while, but we've actually met before. Yes, of course. They're actually downstairs. Follow me. And he leads you kind of off to the path behind the congregation, opens a door and leads you down a spiral staircase going down. Incredible distance. It's still relatively tall. You kind of have to, it's a bit narrow. You do have to kind of squeeze in. And you get to a small room and leads you down a spiral staircase going down. Incredible distance. It's still relatively tall. You kind of have to, it's a bit narrow. You do have to kind of squeeze in. And you get to a small room where the roof's a bit smaller, and you notice there's a blasting heat coming from it. I believe they're in here. You walk in and you see these large furnaces with these metal trays that pull out. You see these two younger people grab a body, put it in, and push it closed. They're in the next room. You walk in and there are about a dozen metal jars, all with a different colored lid and plaques.
Are they dead?
Unfortunately, we let them stay the night at the local hospital.
Out.
Inside out? What a weird question is that? No, of course not.
Well. Were the individuals who died the ones who sustained a wound in Succumber?
They did not nearly that. It was a much more grievous wound. Most of them, I believe it was large strikes against the torso, as if they'd been hit by a large great axe.
Claw.
It is possible. I'm not a medical professional.
But you did say it didn't look like it came from the outside in? Or inside out?
No, why would that be the case?
I think it's more likely that they just didn't understand what they were looking at because they don't know the situation.
I feel like we need to inform the guard or something that those creatures are loose in water.
Okay, so
I'm going to go into a brief explanation of
Kuma, while you're doing that, I'm going to go do some research up in the northern ward myself. Meet me there when you guys are done, if you find anything.
I would also check the local stores local temple. This place does have quite a lot of knowledge that they collect.
If I can find the library, I will be fine. Yeah, bye. Alistair's gonna bolt to a library.
Okay.
What hospital were they staying at?
They were staying at a general hospital over in the North Ward.
I'm gonna go with you.
You catch up quickly then.
I would probably say check on the hospital.
That's what I was gonna do. That's why I was going with him because he's going to Northward.
As for the events that have transpired, I am sorry. Unfortunately, I don't believe I'm going to be of much help to you. You said large claw marks?
Northward.
As for the events that have transpired, I am sorry. Unfortunately, I don't believe I'm going to be of much help to you. You said large claw marks?
I go into detail about what happened and exactly what I saw, and also explain to them that the fire nearby, if they ever come across another individual, prompted the expulsion of hundreds of these things. So it seems heat is reactionary to them,
Okay.
and to be careful about cremation.
He kind of stops and I'm like, oh, I've never heard of such a thing. I don't know who you'd be able to talk to about this. It does seem as if it could become quite the trouble, but I mean, to be able to talk to someone who would actually be able to help, you'd have to have some sort of last night who was here. He didn't go into the same detail as you, but he was also quite worried.
Real quick, I was gonna say once I left the church, I would tell these two because they were in there that I'm heading to the North Ward to investigate the hospital where some people were, and to meet us there when Kuma leaves the church.
In terms of distance, how far away is the North Ward?
I have honestly no clue.
Within a mile? Not within a mile.
It's a big city, so
It should be within a mile.
There-
The city is not that big.
It's much bigger than Golden Fields,
Yes.
and Golden Fields is several miles long and wide. Yes. So I have absolutely no clue because the map doesn't actually tell you.
it's a big city, so it'll take a while.
So, I'm going to link one of their minds to mine as well as Agni, and then I'm going to place myself about the halfway point. Their minds to mine as well as Agni, and then I'm going to place myself about the halfway point to make sure we can all still communicate with each other.
Yeah.
And then that lasts for 5 hours.
Wow.
Okay.
I'm going to, as soon as I'm done with this guy, I'm going to go towards where
So I'm assuming you'll wait for him.
Okay.
Are you leaving?
Yes, because I have to make sure I don't get outside of a mile of whoever I'm linked to, or else it breaks.
Yep, I'll wait for him.
Okay.
While on my way to the north, I'm gonna look for just some sort of inn, like passing by an inn.
Okay.
Preferably not in the posh section.
That's what.
I can't afford that.
Our budget.
There are many inns, but Kuma, talking to Father Dory, he had just told you that he suggests going back to the abbey, and or the abbot talking to him, and maybe he'd be able to connect you with somebody else who would actually be able to lead you in the right direction of this. The previous night, I suggested he talk to an expert. The only one that came to mind was he's an interesting man who runs an inn. Goes by the name of Durnham. He runs an inn known as the Yawning Portal. It's between the Castle Ward and the Trade Ward.
I will be sure to visit before I leave town.
Perfect. I don't know if the previous night I talked to him, but
Fair enough. Thank you for your time. I appreciate the hospitality.
of course,
Good day.
good day. And you were able to separate.
I'm going to leave, and I'm guessing
I'm still there.
okay.
I will kind of. So, Leon came out of Alistair came out rushing, quickly followed by Leon, and they said they went to the North Ward, I believe. I think I heard Alistair mumble something about a library.
That's where we'll be heading.
But currently we're mind linked with Knight, as is Knight to Leon or Alistair, one of those two.
I would have picked one because he dragged nuts.
Couldn't imagine we were dropped inside that.
Well, I suppose we should head towards Alistair. I said we'd deal with that. Sorry this took so long.
Couldn't imagine we were dropped inside that.
Well, I suppose we should head towards Alistair. I said we'd deal with that. Sorry this took so long.
No, it's fine. I managed to stay pretty well hidden. But now I'm alone with a walking billboard.
It's okay, and why is it amazing? They won't even look at you.
I hope not.
So, I want to find the nicest library I can. I'm using Cloistered Scholar, though others must often endure extensive interviews and significant fees to gain access to even the most common archives of the library. You have free and easy access to the majority of the library, even though it might also have repositories of lore that are too valuable, magical, or secret to permit anyone else immediate access. You have a working knowledge of your cloister's personnel and bureaucracy and know how to navigate those connections with some ease. Additionally, you are likely to gain preferential of lore that are too valuable, magical, or secret to permit anyone else immediate access. You have a working knowledge of your cloister's personnel and bureaucracy and know how to navigate those connections with some ease. Additionally, you are likely to gain preferential treatment from libraries across the realms as professional courtesy shown to a fellow scholar.
Okay.
I'm going to find the nicest library I can and try to find anything involving this stuff.
Make me a. I'm gonna say this is an investigation check. The DC is going to be very high.
That's okay.
Investigation, 15. That's all I really got.
15.
Uh-huh.
Unfortunately, looking around, you can't find anything quite the same. You find books that are tailored to help adventurers. You can't find anything quite the same. You find books that are tailored to help adventurers. One is a guide to monsters made by a man named Volo. You find a couple books by an individual named Mordenkainen.
That's a name I'd be familiar with.
Yes,
But I can't find any simple kind of manual of monsters.
Volo's Guide to Monsters.
I will spend all night on this if I need to try to find anything.
Okay.
That's Alistair's plan. He's going to be searching every single book he can to find anything about creatures like this or
I was gonna say
anything.
for
Or
the
wounds
creatures
like
or-
this. Both. Creatures, wounds, anything that would match the description.
Okay.
And Alistair is willing to gain level exhaustion if needed to look all night.
Noted. That is what Alistair is doing for the night. Over at the local, a white canvas tent set up, and it seems to be a kind of temporary treating place for many different people. It's relatively large, about 40 feet by 100 feet.
I walk in, is there like some sort of like front desk or something like that, or someone at the entryway I can talk to?
There is not.
Just still walk in, just kind of like look around, see if I can find someone.
Yeah, you walk in, lift up the flap, and inside you see there's about 24 individuals all laying there with various different infections. There's one man sitting there, a large mushroom growing out of his mouth. There are several others covered in rashes.
Rashes are so funny.
I'm making fun of Jeremy.
Yeah, that's why I
yeah,
got that
you.
immediately.
There are others with basic things: children with broken bones, ankle.
That's why I got that immediately.
There are others with basic things: children with broken bones, ankles, broken arms, things like that. And there's like a small team of healers taking care of them, most of which are being taken care of by non-magical means because magic is not that common in 5th edition.
Is there like or one of the staff members not busy at the moment, or I can kind of get their attention and talk to them for a second?
There are various others all in different states of actually doing stuff. But you can just walk up to one of them and introduce yourselves. They're all wearing the same basic thing. Large gowns that are white. They're all wearing gloves and they have some form of mask.
I walk up to one and say, excuse me. I am Leon, and I'm looking for information about some people who...
I'm one of the best surgeons in town, but I can't help you with this.
I'm not asking for me. I'm asking for other people.
Oh, perfect. How can I help you?
There was a group of individuals who came in who had some grievous wounds and kind of passed while they were here.
Very grievous wounds.
Like
Were they on the more general side, or?
They were more on the general side. They're more human. They don't look like me, if that's what you're asking.
Thank you. That does narrow it down because I've not treated any.
I get it. Anyways.
I am
You.
terribly sorry. I'm not hateful. I've just forgotten the name of your people.
It's fine. It's not. But some of them might have had marks on their arms.
I think it was about a 10-day ago, where a group of men came in. They had wounds, and we were looking after them. But when we came in to check up on them in the morning, they had unfortunately passed. We believe they were murdered. I'm sorry if they were friends of yours. They had very large holes that had been. Their ribs had been crushed by something. I'm not sure what.
Any other strange occurrences that happened after that day?
Honestly, that was pretty up there. We don't normally deal with this sort of thing happening. We weren't really sure to handle. We reported it to the city guard, and there was, according to their wills, they requested to be cremated after death, and their remains sent off to their families. We reported it to the city guard, and there was, according to their wills, they requested to be cremated after death, and their remains sent off to their families.
Do you mind telling me where you were keeping them?
We were keeping them over here. And he leads you kind of toward the front of the tent, where you see that there are several cots set up that they clearly haven't been used in a while, and you can see that there's about a 6-inch diameter hole that's been punched through the center of each of them.
Leon looks around, see if he finds any like holes in the tent near that area. I think it's sort of where somebody could have left.
Yeah, make me a perception check.
That is a 18.
An 18. You look around and you can't really quite see anything.
Let
Wait,
me interject real quick.
Okay.
Will you have passed information to me? Wait, you already did.
Yeah, he walked out with you there.
I'm going to send a mental question out to you because since I know you went to the hospital, I'm like, will you make sure or ask the doctors if they were unconscious when they arrived?
So is your mental connection with Alistair or Leon?
Both.
Well, add me in.
He annoys me. I would not have connected to him. It was these two.
Okay.
Exactly.
I asked
But
about Well, I said I was going to the hospital.
I'm still
No,
precious
I meant
selfish.
him.
I
He
said
just
I was
said
going
he
to
was going
libraries.
to a library.
He mumbled something though.
We're in a big city.
You're in a very big city.
Not used.
Anyways, I guess we...
Panicked. I was
Okay.
not.
Okay. Never mind that. Anyways, I was a surgeon. So these men happen to be some sort of unconscious or when they arrived.
Yes, all 6 of them when they arrived, they were all unconscious.
And since you do have my profession, you think they had a wound going straight through them and going through the bed, some sort of tool or weapon of some kind.
Had a very impressive tool, as if they'd shoved a fence post through the body.
I can't remember. Did I get his name or not? I say he was the best surgeon, but
His name is...
Pepper.
Salt.
Dr. Pepper. He's Dr.
Salt.
Pepper.
We haven't added salt yet.
I actually do have a thing you can still from this. What am I going to name him?
Dr.
Salt.
Pepper. He's Dr.
Salt.
Pepper.
We haven't added salt yet.
I actually do have a thing you can still from this. What am I going to name him? He introduces himself as Dr. Crevelius.
With a C or a K?
See,
You won't sound that name at all.
CK out of neutral? Because he's with
Alright, well, thank you for your time. I have to leave now, but I really appreciate your help with this situation.
of course. Have a pleasant day.
You too.
Did you learn anything?
I'll relay with the group when I get to you. Where are you guys about now?
Where are you guys at now?
Oh, we're going to catch up with Alistair. I heard him mumble something about it. Night's in my head. She's in my head talking to us.
Real quick though, when
Fascinating. Magic, buddy.
one quick question. So would I know what direction he went though? Because we were walking together, and when we split off, I could kind of guess what direction he went.
Sure.
What? Am I connected to Leon, or is it just like 2 separate tethers?
You're connected to me, and
Okay.
he's connected to me.
Okay.
I don't believe you guys can.
Teleport.
Let me double check though. Hold on.
I was gonna say, is it?
I don't believe
2?
so. I believe it has to go through you.
I believe it does, and that's annoying, but
That's how the spells normally work.
Mental telephone.
Exactly.
the creatures can speak telepathically with you. And
Okay.
you can speak telepathically with them.
Okay, fabulous.
Yes.
Tell them that we need to speak to the abbot in Golden.
They want us to speak to the abbot in Golden Fields.
They want us to speak to the abbot in Golden Fields.
To follow the other road.
I've got the other dogs, or else I'm going to tell them. Okay.
It says okay.
That's not very helpful. Okay, we need to find Alistair. I think he mumbled something about a library.
Do you know where Alistair is?
I know the general direction if you guys want to meet me.
He knows the general direction if we want to meet him.
Well, where do we gotta meet him?
Where do you want to meet up?
At this point, I'm just staring at you.
You're just like,
What is going on?
The hungry
Next-
still
in my
he's
head.
Next to the hospital in the field hospital in Northwood.
Meet at the field hospital northward.
okay, we're going to the field hospital Northward.
Okay, I'm also gonna make my way
Northward?
there.
Northmore.
Where is
Next to the hospital in the field hospital in Northwood.
Meet at the field hospital northward.
Okay, we're going to the field hospital Northward.
Okay, I'm also gonna make my way
Northward?
there.
Northmore.
Where is? Hello. Where is Northmord Field Hospital?
North.
Word.
Ward.
Ward.
You
Ward.
gotta flip your W around again.
I gotta do it. It's gotta go from mumbo to mumbo.
Ah, we'll find it.
Northward. Northward. We walked through there earlier. Let's just go that way.
That direction.
Okay, I will have gotten there first though, because I was at the halfway point.
So we'll say, for the sake of ease, that you eventually all meet up and you begin your search for Alistair. And after a significant amount of time, you'd hear somebody talking on the streets about a weird tiefling who wouldn't shut the hell up. And you're like, that's ours. Search for Alistair. And after a significant amount of time, you'd hear somebody talking on the streets about a weird tiefling who wouldn't shut the hell up. And you're like, that's ours. And you would eventually be pointed towards a incredibly nice library made of marble.
Real quick, do we get filled in by Leon?
Yeah, I would tell you guys
Okay.
about how.
That would make me want us to check something.
Should we notify
I would
the
like
guard?
to sneak into the tent where he explained they were at and check under the bed one more time to see if there is a dent in the floor.
You can just walk in.
Okay, I wasn't sure if they'd let me. Well, they
They
let
let
him.
me in.
Yeah, they let him. So I'm gonna look under the.
Actually, they only like male tabaxi. So.
You're not supposed to know.
Not racism.
Hi! It wasn't expected, was it?
Oh,
Surprise!
Only allowed in for
Expect
season
the
one.
Spanish Inquisition.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm not dangerous.
Actually, fun fact about the Spanish Inquisition:
Yeah.
they actually had to tell people well ahead of time, so everybody did expect the Spanish Inquisition.
okay. I'm basically
There's a history fact.
looking for if it was a weapon, it would have gone through the cot and jammed into the floor, and I want to see if it jammed into the ground.
You see that it did not.
Alright.
But still, that doesn't make sense.
That much force going through somebody and then through the cot
But you
itself?
don't know how long the weapon is.
You don't, but I'm double checking.
But if it hits the bed, we still don't know if it's a weapon or
Exactly, I'm covering basis.
I think we're quite certain it wasn't a weapon.
If
But-
it's a weapon, then
not. Why would they go
Through the
down
cot.
through? They went instead of going up.
They
Maybe
seemed
they-
to have avoided contact until they were
It's
larger.
not just that, it
Even-
went through both sides.
Well, also, even the surgeon said that the ribs went inward instead of out.
I'm thinking that whatever it was, they probably had a friend. Okay.
But
Go
they-
back to learning, you nerd.
But
You
what
see,
we do
Alistair
know is
do
that they had a
something.
similar
Think about
wound
that.
type to what was happening in Succumber, and they also had the same outcome of their chest being imploded or exploded in Succumber's case. I think the correlations between the two are too hard to deny.
Well,
Yes,
the
but-
cots in Succumber, did they have a hole in them?
I don't know.
Why would the creatures go out both ends?
What makes me think
Wings.
is they knew about these creatures and someone came in to exterminate them.
I'm thinking probably their buddy that went on to Golden Fields, you said they went to that?
Yeah, but she
Not
also
even
said
that.
that it'd be a
What if-
very powerful weapon to penetrate through an
Wait.
entire body as a pillar.
Or just a strong person.
didn't you're here.
You could do that.
Didn't they say that they sent some like the abbot at Golden Fields said they sent a group a week prior to sending us because they still hadn't heard back from them and that's why they sent us? It could have been that group. Didn't they say that they sent some like the abbot at Golden Fields said they sent a group a week prior to sending us because they still hadn't heard back from them and that's why they sent us? It could have been that group coming back.
Very well could.
So they definitely are probably that one lone survivor knight is definitely back at Golden Fields.
And I'm wondering if there's
And
someone in Waterdeep who knows about these creatures and saw the signs
Sure.
and did the extermination themselves.
It's possible.
So,
Very true.
chances are we know it probably wasn't a spear because I saw no mark underneath the cot. So that narrows it down from people with spears.
Well,
Which
that doesn't rule out his theory.
stop before it goes
I think
to
the
bottom.
conjoining theory is that we need to go back to speak to the abbot.
Correct.
Now, where is Alistair?
And that nice library there. Oh my god, that thing is huge.
I'll
The
go as
fanciest
the
library.
local animal.
Hold on.
I was gonna say we can hook you up to a cart and make you crawl on off.
I will not be digging.
We have the fanciest library, which is probably for rich people. Rich people are racist. The only one who's semi-normal is in there already.
He's a
But he has the scholar thing. Which I don't know, but
I'm pretty
I'm
normal.
pretty good at talking to people. I'll do
Yeah, but
that.
you're
Do you
over
want me to go scout it?
That's because I don't have anybody to see the red. You see the red? I'm
He's
trying to
red.
avoid the races. Yeah, but I'm fire.
I'd say you have probably the best shot at getting in there anyway. I'll wait here, and I'll go
Are there-
sit by one of
are
the
there-
marble pillars.
There's guards at the library, right?
There are.
Then Agni would approach and just is trying to go into the library.
You walk in and you get stopped.
I'm actually just looking for my friend. He's the red tiefling boy. We just need to go, so I just wanted to pull him out of here. Could you actually go find him for me and bring him out?
I'm sorry, no entry without a card,
But
and I cannot leave.
do you think you could ask somebody to look in? I just don't exactly have a card. I just want to have my friend leave. I promise I won't touch anything.
No.
Well, it's a library. I can't exactly just yell for him.
Members only.
But he doesn't have a library card either. How did he get in?
He's a respected member of the community.
He's never even been here before.
The the squint community is they're closely knit.
Okay.
I will send word that you are here.
If you could just do that, and hopefully that word will travel very fast. We're kind of on a time crunch, especially I am. But if you could just pass that word along very, very fast for me, please.
Can do. And you see him take out a small copper wire and whisper into it.
Thank you very much. And she'll walk back, or he'll walk back down and go, okay, so, he's still somewhere in there. And they don't particularly care for
I do not.
cuteness. That doesn't mean you.
I do not
But-
think we can stand all of you tonight, though.
Well, it helps
No,
if you're
they're-
cute.
I do not.
Cuteness. That doesn't mean you.
I do not
But-
think we can stand all of you tonight, though.
Well, it helps
No,
if you're
they're-
cute.
What time is it?
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
It's getting relatively late in the day at this point.
We have
But-
much of a choice.
Well,
Because-
we have to wait for. They sent a message along that they're gonna get Alistair out here, and I assume the police hurry.
But here's the problem. If this is someone trying to kill these creatures, Alistair has gone through the town asking people about it. What are the chances that someone now knows about Alistair having that creature in him?
I would say very little. This is a big town, and I just point to the giant crowd.
Alistair, on the inside of the library, you are going through reading a book, and as you do a small note, you find a very interesting note, or a page at least, and it catches your attention. It simply says, "The history of the Slotty." You're going to want to take notes for this. It says, "In the ever-changing chaos of limbo, bits of forest and meadow, ruined castles, and isolated islands drift through the tumult of fire, water, earth, and wind. The foremost inhabitants of this inhospitable plain are the toad-like Slotty. Slotty are undisciplined and have no formal hierarchy. Although weaker, Slotty obey stronger ones under threat of annihilation. Long ago, Primus, overlord of Modrons, created a gigantic, geometrically complex stone imbued with the power of a law. He then cast it adrift in limbo, believing that the stone would bring order to the chaos of the plane and halt the spread of chaos to other planes. As the stone's power grew, it became possible for creatures with ordered minds such as Mondrons and Githzerai to create enclaves in limbo. However, Primus's creation had an unforeseen side effects. The chaotic energy absorbed by the stone spawned the horrors that came to be known as Slotty. Sages refer to Primus's massive creation as the spawning stone for this reason. The Slotty wiped out every Madron enclave in Limbo as Slotty. Sages refer to Primus's massive creation as the spawning stone for this reason. The Slotty wiped out every Madron enclave in Limbo. As creatures of utter chaos, Slotty loathe Madrons and attack them on sight. Nonetheless, Primus stands by his creation, and either doesn't perceive the Slotty as threats, or simply chooses to ignore them. And this next piece really catches your attention. Birth and transformation. Slotty have horrific cycles of reproduction. Slotty reproduce by either by implanting humanoid hosts with eggs or by infecting them with a transformative disease known as the Chaos Phage, with red Slotty spawning blue and green Slotty, and blue Slotty spawning red and green. Each green slot undergoes a lifelong cycle of transformation into the more powerful gray and then death Slotty. With each transformation, the slot retains its memories. And the last one, shape changers. Some Slotty transform into the humanoid creatures from which they were originally spawned. These Slotty return to the material plane to sow discord in the guise of their former selves. And through your hours of search, that is all you find.
This is why I don't take notes. This is why I don't take notes. My handwriting is so bad. I'm speed
I can
writing.
take notes, please.
It's fine.
I want to write down more of it.
There you go.
I spent 5 years learning to read.
Oh no.
And then you look at the note and it says, your friends are at the front door.
Alistair looks at his stacks of books he's accumulated. Looks around for a return tray. If there is one, he'll put them there.
Mhm.
And then he will head out to the group and looking cracked out of his mind, basically. Like eyes red. And he goes, so I learned very little. But I did learn one thing. What
Fair
they
monkey.
are.
I was going to say.
I did learn what they are. And nothing else.
What are they?
They
Monkey.
are.
I was going to say.
I did learn what they are. And nothing else.
What are they?
Things called Slotty that were created by Primus from a rock that he went to go give the plane of Limbo law. It messed up. And then it's, stop it. And then it, didn't do that. Instead it made these things called Slotty, these toad-like creatures. And they reproduce in very weird ways by infecting or infusing human hosts, or humanoid hosts. And apparently red makes blue and green, and blue makes green or red. I don't get that. But then also they age and turn into gray and death Slotty, which can then even turn into shape changers, which can turn into humanoid peoples. So this can get really bad. Also, doing some calculations, those guys were 10 days behind us, right? The last group. And it took us about 18 days to get here, so I probably have about 28 days before one of these babies burst out, and it's been 19 days already. It's less than 10 days.
I guess we should probably. He's
I
very
didn't
blessed.
die.
He's very blessed by Shantae. He should be able to help in some way.
You're more than likely not going to die.
I'm probably going to die.
You're probably going to die.
He's probably going to.
Everyone else has died from this.
Should have cut your arm off when I said so.
I
It doesn't.
agree.
I don't think it infects via the arm. Stomach babies.
That's how they get your eggs. That's how they get the eggs out.
Well, at least we'll know that he's about ready to pass when he goes unconscious.
The kidney stones.
Sure.
If I go unconscious and there's nothing else you can do to save me,
Kill you through the chest. Got it.
Figure out a way to do it. I don't want this to spread, and the spread to be partly my fault.
Did you learn anything about how to deal with it?
I know a lot about where they came from. The fact that Primus don't care about what he did. And yeah. And what they are, at least. But knowledge is power, so we might find something else with that. And yeah. And what they are, at least. But knowledge is power, so we might find something else with that knowledge, maybe. But I don't think I've heard anything else about Slavi in my entire life.
Is Primus still alive?
Primus is a god.
Primus is the god of law.
An order. And he created modrones, which are a bunch of little order-constructed creatures. That
I don't know any of that.
So why don't we just find, if Primus is a god, then there's probably more than likely a church here
No.
for him, but then more than likely a church here for them, so if we go to the church, they might know how to fix it.
Primus doesn't care about the Slavi, though.
I know, but his church may have more information upon them, since they were technically his creation.
So we have to wait until the morning to next. No one's going to be in the chapel now. But then we also lose time by going to talk to the abbot.
Exactly. I think we should start with the church on our way out and then head to the abbot.
If you don't die by morning.
I have about 10 days, I think. If, 17, 18 seems to be the day. So probably around a month-ish. Which means I have 10 days. I don't know what to do.
You're not gonna...
We'll try our best.
I still say we go talk to the church first and see if they have any ideas on how to handle
But
this.
for now, it's late. We should probably find somewhere to rest.
Probably.
You should probably redo your math because didn't you tell me that the person at the Saloon's temple said that these people died 7 days ago?
Oh, you have 3 days.
But the surgeon told me 10.
Hmm?
The surgeon told me 10.
So you have tonight.
Smoke coming out of his ear.
No, okay, so they arrived 10 days ago. They
Already
died
unconscious.
7. 8.
We're wasting time. Let's go check out the Church of
hold on.
Primus.
Hold on, we're trying to figure this out.
Talk
You
on
said
the
we
way.
had 28 days to live?
Talk on the way.
You mathed?
We're going to walk towards Primus's church.
No, this is an actual question out of character. You said we had 28 days, and it's been 19 days since you got infected.
Metagame, I know exactly how many days I have left, but I'm not going to say.
Well, I'm trying to figure that out in character.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to figure
But you
out.
just said you were
Matthew,
meta.
stop interrupting. Okay, I said in character you had 26
Oh,
days?
28.
28.
I just found the year I was looking for.
Good. It's been 19 days. So yes, you still have 9 days.
Well,
9 days to live.
he and Gillian.
And killing. So yeah, everyone's math is off. It is 9
Is
days.
Killian-
You have 9 days. Done. No more arguing. Back in. Oh, well.
No more arguing, huh? You're not the one who's going to die in 9 days.
Well, we're gonna probably fix that.
3 days. That's like.
Maybe somebody need
Big bets.
greater restoration maybe would, because that cures everything, doesn't it? Do you think
I've
it
tried
cures
lesser
babies?
restoration on him, and it
Yeah,
didn't
but that's
seem to have
lesser.
effect.
Greater is
I've tried
greater.
greater, but I
Church
don't
of
have it.
Primus. It's worth
Yeah,
a
we're
shot.
going there right now.
It's worth a shot.
Well, we could go to the largest church in town because they probably have somebody who is at least magically capable somewhere. It
So
would
we'll
be
go to-
expensive though.
We'll go Primus, then we'll go to that church, be even more in debt from healings and stuff, and then
Eh,
The only issue I had is
in debt or 6 feet in the ground? Or 6 feet in the ground?
Did you explain everything about the books that you read, or just what you said somewhere? Out there?
in character I've explained what I've said, which is the majority of the points.
Out of character, there was one point that I thought was very important.
What point?
I don't think I want to say because I don't know if your character would recognize that in his state.
Alistair is smarter than I am IRL, so
Fair enough.
go ahead.
They
Okay.
shape change,
I did mention that.
Okay.
They can shape change once they grow after
and they
death,
ensue
great
chaos.
death. Yep, they embody chaos because their law-eyed Primus messed up and was too chaotic.
So how do we know you're actually Alistair?
No, my point is more so if the Abbey sent a group to that city.
Oh.
Apparently, after what I've read, they have to mature a bit.
Oh, okay.
And, you know, when they crawled out, they were babies. I don't think they grow that fast.
Well, what if the abbot is long? Or something?
Oh.
Apparently, after what I've read, they have to mature a bit.
Oh, okay.
And, you know, when they crawled out, they were babies. I don't think they grow that fast.
Well, what if the abbot is long? Or somebody similar and he's ensuing chaos? That's out of character, in my thought thing.
I think that's a little.
It's a little far-fetched, I think. Maybe it's not. I don't know.
Killian's gonna be one.
I don't know, it'd be awesome. But
Either way, also, apparently, this is going to be either blue or green.
blue or green?
Yeah, because I was hit by a red one. It was red that clawed its way out of the chest that scratched me, right?
Do we know if the babies can fit?
I don't know.
Well, his wound's not
Probably.
healing.
But it's not a deep scratch.
I don't know if it
I don't want
matters.
to take a chance.
I know.
Just go to Primus's church.
Yeah, we're on our way there.
Have we found it yet?
You spend 2 hours looking around and you can find no church to Primus.
Would we know if there's a reason why there would be no chapel to Primus?
We're on our way there.
Have we found it yet?
You spend 2 hours looking around and you can find no church to Primus.
Would we know if there's a reason why there would be no chapel to Primus? Or if there is a reason why?
So not unless you had extensive religious knowledge,
I have
particularly of Primus.
Damn, then no idea.
Is there a church that's... What's the largest churches in the city that I would know
Like, there's got to be
Top
like a
three.
main.
Top three, Bahamut would be very high up there. I'd say it's Bahamut, Torm, and Helm.
of? Bahamut is the god of justice.
Bahamut's a good one, and I think this is pretty unjust. So,
I don't know
Why don't we
if
just go there and see if there's a cleric that can help us?
yeah.
I mean, there was the clerics that came into town that we met. We might be able to find them. They were walking this direction.
The main church.
Yeah,
That's,
the Bahamut one. It's the big boy one.
We'll go there.
Okay. You head towards this massive chapel with these incredible white pillars as you walk in. The church is made out of white marble with polished marble floors. And as you walk in, one of the things you would see is this massive silver dragon that's been masterfully crafted out of what appears to be raw silver, maybe even platinum, that's hanging from the ceiling. As you look around, it's pretty empty. By pretty empty, I mean, from what you can tell, there's nobody here.
Because it's later night.
Super late.
Mm-hmm.
Hello?
After a moment, you hear some soft steps, and you see a older priest walking out with the cane.
Oh, goodness.
Can I help you?
I'm sorry it's so late, but I need help. I need help.
You do need help being up this late.
Yeah, it's because I'm probably going to die in a few days.
Have fun with that.
No, wait, please. I need someone with knowledge of magical healing and maybe long time knowledge about things.
What do you want?
Do you know anything about a creature named a Slotty?
What did you call me?
Can you cast the spell Greater Restoration?
No.
Okay, never mind. This was useless. Let's go.
At what time is the church more lively?
Church is lively at all times. Just because you can't see it happening doesn't mean it's not lively.
When is the most people here?
It depends on the day and the time and the week and the month, and
I'm gonna die.
you can have fun with that. It depends on the day and the time and the week and the month, and
I'm gonna die.
you can have fun with that.
Somehow I'm going to die sooner than this old fart here.
Did you see,
I'll race you to the grave.
did you by chance
Please
see
win.
two travelers of your church enter town? Possibly in the last 20 days.
Hey, what?
From out of town. A large dragonborn fellow and...
What?
This is obvious.
Thank you.
So maybe wait until
Let's wait till dawn.
I have one last day to live. Yeah.
Would you like a drink?
Well, I'll see you in the morning then.
Unless you don't wake up.
Is that Fred?
Stop it.
No,
He
let's just
turns around. Sounds like you're gonna beat me too.
let's just
Oh,
go.
is that your summer camp?
I was there for like a couple of years.
That's math camp.
Oh.
Yeah, there you go.
With my past perception, would I have noticed an inn that might have been sizable for where I can fit and everybody else can fit?
Yeah, there's a couple very large
There's a
ones.
garage, man.
We can try one of those.
Yeah.
Why not?
You can easily just walking around find an inn, no problem.
We do so.
You find one named the Fornicating Unicorn.
I like it.
Named after Geralt and Yennefer.
I'd like to.
Alistair orders a room and the heaviest drink he can.
Okay.
Or weight or alcohol.
So the cost of the inn is going to be.
Price the old man back.
Once I find it. Lodging.
Price the old man back.
Once I find it. Lodging. Well, in this part of town, it's going to be 8 silver pieces.
Per night.
Yep.
That's exactly how many I have. How much for a heavy drink?
For a heavy drink, you're looking about 4 copper pieces
Alistair will take
for a shot.
Alistair takes 3 of them
Okay.
and pays a gold piece. Just to keep him coming in case he wants.
Okay.
Math's a little off there, buddy.
Does anybody else want to do anything before you take a long?
Instead.
Yeah. So the food here is pretty basic. It's going to be 5 silver pieces, and they kind of have like a buffet set out where you can just take whatever you want. Pieces, and they kind of have like a buffet set out where you can just take whatever you want.
I will also do
I will also eat.
And do you go to sleep for the night?
Alistair passes out on the bar.
Okay.
Me, I'm being kind of suspicious. I kind of
I'm
will sit in Alistair's just kind of sit around Alistair watching carefully.
Okay.
I'm gonna sleep but warily in a room.
alert.
All right.
Yes.
The rooms here.
Like I'm gonna
It was
Oh, I already
share-
told you
yeah,
what the
it
cost was.
8 silver.
Yep.
And then
Alistair buys it but sleeps on the bar because he passes out drunk and crying.
Ooh, well
Okay.
in that case, can I sleep in the room that he paid for?
Yes.
Okay.
Minotaur.
And Alistair, you fall asleep. You have terrible nightmares of this itch reverberating from your chest till eventually you start to feel something crack and you wake up. Your hit points are permanently reduced by 9.
Permanently.
Oof.
So.
Joy,
That's right.
Okay. You have
go ahead and change that to 15 hit points total.
That's not good.
Alistair looks like
Hey,
shit.
Is there about
Leon, you would notice as the night progresses, Alistair loses the color in his skin. It goes from like a red to kind of like it's kind of starts to gray out a little bit.
It's okay. Your hit points are about to hit 0 anyway. Permanently.
It could happen the next day. And with that,
AGG medicine or something. You can figure out the cure. Like, oh, he has 4 blood issues.
I was joking about the day. Oh man, that sucks.
What do we do?
Jesus Christ. Well, this is great.
You have to then wait till
Even
you
if
take
I
a
live,
long
I
rest.
have 15 hit points at level 4.
Sounds like somebody
I think
just.
I get reversed.